The NASCAR Cup Series championship is right here on WCNC Charlotte Sunday from Phoenix. Joining me now is the voice of the NASCAR Cup Series on NBC and WCNC Charlotte, Leigh Diffey. Leigh, thanks for joining me, man. How has it been for you taking this role? And we'll get to all the exciting finishes you've gotten to call, but what's the experience been like in NASCAR for you?
Nick, my experience in NASCAR so far has been simply amazing. I did a little bit of it about 6 or 7 years ago, but to come back in this kind of full-time nature after doing just about every other form of motorsport for NBC, Formula One, IndyCar, Supercross, sports cars, it's been really nice to get my teeth into. And I think the championship is at such an exciting phase right now. The racing, the competition is so strong, and we've had some amazing finishes. So I'm really enjoying it.
You know, we had just gotten done watching you and listening to you in the Olympics. You mentioned IndyCar, Formula One, and those other motorsports. We were surprised when we heard your name connected to the NASCAR gig. It just kind of happened all of a sudden. What was the experience like for you? Did you know it was happening for a while? Was it sudden? What happened there?
I had a little bit of had a little insight into that it was happening. So I had a few months to prepare, but doing my normal workload, and then of course having to get my head wrapped around my 6th Olympic Games in Paris, the Summer Games, and doing track and field. That's a super big task. So I had to kind of compartmentalize and then get ready for NASCAR once Paris was done. It's been amazing. It's been a privilege. I get to work with Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton immediately in the booth, and we've known each other for quite a long time. So as a trio, we have come together really nicely and effectively. We have a lot of fun off air, and that transfers to having fun on air as well.
What's something about NASCAR that is uniquely different from even the other motorsports you've called?
Well, the number of cars on the track, and it's very close to a fixed number every week. The different tracks, the nature of the tracks, the history. There's so many intriguing elements to NASCAR, and just it is unique unto itself just because of the very nature of it, based on oval racing, but now integrating street and road courses. I think that the championship is at a very interesting phase. The drivers each have compelling stories, which we like to try and do our best to relay and tell their stories. It's not just about cars going around on the track, it's the personalities that are driving these cars. So I love the history of NASCAR, from its roots on the beach at Daytona Beach to now racing on the streets of Chicago, and you go to the 2.5+ mile monster at Talladega, and the newer circuits, and then the ones that are steeped in history. I think the sport's at a really nice point at the moment.
Well, Leigh, you've gotten the chance to call and have magnificently called some of the sport's biggest moments in just the last few months. When you talk about Burton's win, the biggest wreck ever at Talladega, and yeah, we'll talk about Martinsville in just a moment. I guess, do you have which one sticks out the most, I guess, at this point? You've had so many in just that compact series of time.
Nick, that's a great point. It has been a spoil of riches. Even my booth brother, Steve Letarte, was joking yesterday. He's like, Diff, all this chaos started when you turned up. But that we've been enjoying that chaos and all of the compelling stories about what's happened in the races. But if I have to pick a favorite, it's actually pretty easy to pick a favorite, and it was that win by Harrison Burton. To have Jeff standing right here in between Steve Letarte and myself, and for him to see his boy. I don't know where those words came from, maybe because I'm a father, and when Harrison crossed the line and I looked at Jeff and just said, Jeff, your little boy's done it. So for Steve and myself to be there and share that moment with Jeff, and knowing that Harrison does not have a cup ride next year, it made it extra emotional. The fact that was the race, his first win in Cup, to be at Daytona and to race his way into the playoffs. It was just a magnificent family moment.
All right, Ryan Blaney wins at Martinsville and books his ticket to Phoenix in the championship 4. He'll have a chance to repeat, but it was everything after that I'm wondering, as you guys are in the booth awaiting the Christopher Bell, William Byron decision, what are those moments like? You've had a few of them with the Joey Logano thing at the Roval, but this one was in real time as the broadcast concluded.
Yeah, look, I mean, from where we sit and from a purist standpoint, you would love it all to be settled right there in the moment, right? Coming to the checkered flag, and it was all quite simplistic, and waiting around was equally as kind of tense for us, I guess, and for the viewers as it was for the drivers involved. And you never want to see that happen. But it's live sport, and there is that variability of that. Take nothing away from Ryan Blaney's win, which was excellent, and it gives him a chance to be in that very special group of going back-to-back champions in NASCAR Cup Series competition. But yeah, it was certainly a crazy day. We were not expecting that. And when you have to, we're on live, on network television, you just kind of, you just got to roll with it, because we're waiting anxiously, like everybody is, on a race control's decision. So it was definitely up there in air quotes as interesting days at the racetrack, and certainly fits in with the chaos that we've seen and the intrigue of the playoffs this year.
All right, 4 men are eligible for a championship in Phoenix. I'm sure you're digging further into all of their stories this week, but Tyler Reddick, he's racing for a guy that's won a lot of championships, and I know would love to win one in motorsports. What is the dynamic of having Michael Jordan at the tracks, and how does that kind of fold into the broadcast every week, especially when Reddick is doing so well? How much fun has that been, and how much has it added?
To have Michael Jordan at the racetrack, just period, is a big deal. But then you have him involved as a co-team owner, and then you have him actively involved, sitting on the pit box or on the pit road or bursting in on the Victory Lane interview to congratulate Tyler Reddick. It's huge, right? He's one of, if not the most recognized sports figure in the world, and he's in our sport. Like, he's an owner, he's an investor, and is invested personally and professionally. And it's huge to have MJ at the racetrack and to do what that team has done in really short succession. In under 5 years, they're now racing for a championship for 23XI Racing. That's extraordinary. And that's one of the stories that we're going to be telling this weekend about Tyler Reddick and his first shot. Obviously, he's an Xfinity Series champion, but to be a Cup Series champion with his still relatively new and young team is huge. Joey Logano, I think, is probably the best equipped because he's a 2-time champion already, but then he has his Team Penske teammate Ryan Blaney trying to go back-to-back. And then William Byron, after having to live through that am I in, am I out scenario at Martinsville, how's he going to perform under that championship pressure? He's been to the championship before, so that's nothing new for him, but he is the sole driver representing Hendrick Motorsports. So many stories, Nick, so many great things to look forward to this weekend. Yeah,
it's a diverse collection of 4 drivers that can win on Sunday. So there's only 4 options for a championship winner. Do you have like a line for each one? How do you approach that part for the finish?
You know what? I wait for it to come to me. Kind of like I told you before about the Harrison Burton moment. I wasn't expecting to say that. I don't know where those words come from. But in the moment, and you kind of, some closers obviously some finishes are closer than others. If you get a little bit of lead time, say if they have a decent enough lead that you pretty much know that they're going to win, I try and wrap everything up in a nice bundle to tell their story the best way. Where they came from, what happened during that race. Did they come from behind? Were they a lap down? This is their first chance to win at this racetrack, and it's going to be their first win of the championship, or whatever the individual scenarios might be. I try and wrap that up all at the end. And, I'm a pretty high energy guy anyway. I get excited, genuinely excited about it. And when it's all on the line for a championship, we're going to be pretty high energy on Sunday, that's for sure.
Can't wait to hear that call. Leigh Diffey from NBC Sports. You can hear him on WCNC Charlotte this Sunday for the championship race in Phoenix. Thank you, Leigh.
Thanks, Nick.